now's the time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there, and we've got to lead it.
The following program is brought to you by friends and partners of End Time Headlines.
Good evening, everyone. This is End Time Headlines, news and headlines from a prophetic perspective. It is Monday, the 19th of September, and we welcome you to tonight's broadcast. If you're joining us live by Facebook or by YouTube, let us know in the comments section below where you guys are joining us from, and this is your first time joining us. For all of you guys that may be joining the rebroadcast of this on whatever platform you're watching, we welcome you to the broadcast. Again, I'm your host, Ricky Scaparo, the founder, the pastor, and the voice of End Time Headlines. In case you've not paid attention lately, there has been catastrophic disasters that had just been coming one after another. And from a biblical perspective, I believe in the scriptures, this is referenced by Jesus himself. You can find this in the book of Matthew, chapter 24, and also in Luke, chapter 21. Both of these passages talk about earthquakes in diverse locations. In the book of Luke, it talks about earthquakes, great earthquakes in different locations as we get closer to the revealing of the Son of Man or the coming of the Lord. It also talks about, it appears from scriptures in, for example, in Luke 21, it talks about the waves and the seas roaring and men's hearts failing them for fear of the expectation of the things that are coming upon the earth. And then we get over into the book of Revelation. And during this tribulation period, you can see there that John speaks of many catastrophic disasters that involve everything from earthquakes to volcanic eruptions to tsunamis to flooding and all kinds of these events. So without further ado, let's get after it today. I want to show you a few things that happened over the past less than a week. I'd say in less than 3 to 4 days, there's been a lot of things happen. For example, homes in Alaska, right here in the United States, were ripped from their foundations from a massive storm surge. The governor there declared a disaster, and it caused extreme flooding. According to a report, the western coast of Alaska was struck with historic storms this past Saturday, again, producing extreme flooding and led to many homes actually being ripped from their foundations. Here's more on that, and we'll be right back.
A massive storm has left parts of Alaska underwater this morning. The remnants of a typhoon battered the west coast of the state on Saturday, causing widespread flooding and knocking some homes off of their foundations. In Nome, the ocean rose to its highest level in 50 years.
Traveling through the Bering Strait Saturday causes widespread flooding in several western Alaska coastal communities, knocking out power and sending neighbors fleeing for higher ground.
Force of the water removed some homes off their foundations. One house in Nome was floating down a river until it got caught at a bridge. Local authorities have not reported any injuries or deaths due to the storms.
Well, officials had warned communities that some places could see the worst flooding in 50 years, and water could take up to 14 hours to recede. Mike, this is something we rarely see from weather reports from Alaska.
Well,
And again, this was a major event for Alaska. Hundreds of people on the coast had evacuated their homes to safer grounds, including schools. On Saturday morning, when the storm began to rage, several homes also were reported to be floating in the floodwaters. Again, as you just saw in those videos. So this was a major disaster for Alaska, and they warned a couple days ahead of time when this major typhoon was already projected to come in their direction. So this is something that ended up coming to fruition. Then we had a powerful sequence of earthquakes. There was a magnitude 6.7 and then a 7.2 earthquake that was later downgraded by the USGS, which they typically do that almost all the time. And it was downgraded to a magnitude 6.9. This earthquake was one of the most powerful in that region in quite some time. And here's more on that, and we'll be right back.
The president has activated the island's Central Emergency Operations Center, responding to a 6.9 magnitude earthquake that hit the southeast corner of Taiwan earlier today. So far, rescue personnel and over 100 soldiers have been deployed in response.
And take a look at this video. Just wow. Into CNN, the earthquake causing the roof to collapse at this just renovated gymnasium. Looks like we saw someone run away just in the nick of time. Miraculously, well, a lot of them running away in the nick of time. Yeah, no one was hurt. That's what we're being told.
Taiwan. This quake was reported overnight. It was so strong that it toppled a 3-story building. Several people were rescued from beneath the rubble. Firefighters and police also responded to a collapsed bridge, and a train was knocked off its tracks because of the shake. It's unclear, though, if anyone was seriously hurt.
Fine. You can see there was a train derailment. There were about 20 passengers on board. They were also evacuated safely. In a more rural area, there was a pretty dramatic bridge collapse. And so these are the images from the areas closest to this shallow quake, which was just about 6 miles underground. And then here in Taipei, at my place, 200 miles away, the shaking was so intense and has been continuing that even in the aftershocks, you almost feel like you're on a boat when the building starts swaying back and forth. No serious damage, but I'll tell you what, I feel motion sick, and I have for much of the day, as have much of my friends here in Taipei who live on a higher floor. And so everybody just kind of hoping that the worst of these quakes are over, as Taiwan's president does warn people to be vigilant in the hours and days to come, because they are expecting more earthquakes, more after.
So as you see here, this again is what I believe Jesus was referencing to when he talked about in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, when he references earthquakes in diverse places. And then he said there would be great earthquakes. And by the way, Taiwan is still being rattled, and they're still getting hammered with aftershocks and just earthquakes after earthquakes after earthquakes that is just rattling the entire location there in Taiwan. So that's something we're going to keep our eye on, because some have noted that we could see greater level of magnitude earthquakes in the coming days as the earth continues to release pressure throughout the continents across the globe. So this is something we want to keep our eyes on as well. Now this is breaking news. A huge magnitude 7.5 earthquake has just struck off the coast of Mexico near La Placita de Morelos. According to the USGS, this is a powerful earthquake, and there is a possible tsunami that can be generated from this. So as of today of the recording of this, it is 2:33 p.m. Eastern time. By the time this airs tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, we may have more information on this earthquake. But this is absolutely astounding. As we were recording this in the studio, I had literally finished this edit and this earthquake struck. Again, breaking news as of 2:33 p.m. Eastern. Now I want to move into a different direction. A deadly super typhoon packing 170-mile-an-hour winds sparked an urgent warning for 2 million people in Japan who was told to take immediate shelter. Check this out.
Typhoon Nanmadol has created havoc in southern island of Kyushu. Authorities have asked nearly 3 million residents to evacuate. Over 25,000 households in the region are without power. Train services, flights and ferries have also been cancelled. Japan's meteorological agency has issued a rare special warning. The U.S. Navy's Joint Typhoon Warning Center classified Typhoon Nanmadol as a super typhoon. The term is used when a typhoon reaches a wind speed of 240 kilometers per hour. Typhoon Nanmadol made landfall with a wind speed of 252 kilometers per hour. The Meteorological Office also warned that Kyushu is at risk from high winds, storms and torrential rain. There is added danger of rivers overflowing and landslides as well. Ryuta Kurora, head of the Japan's Meteorological Agency Forecast Unit, said, and I'm quoting, "The southern part of the Kyushu region may see the sort of violent wind, high waves and high tides that have never been experienced before."
One of the biggest typhoons ever to strike Japan has made landfall on the southern island of Kyushu. Typhoon Nanmadol has brought winds of at least 180 kilometers per hour. Some areas could see 500 millimeters of rainfall. At least 4 million people have been told to evacuate their homes. Extensive flooding and landslides are expected. Bullet train services, ferries and hundreds of flights have been cancelled. The typhoon made landfall near the city of Kugashima. The island of Kyushu has a population of more than 30 million people. Nanmadol is the 14th Pacific typhoon this season. It is expected to travel up through central Japan towards Tokyo over the coming days. The country is well prepared for dealing with such storms. But scientists say climate change is making them bigger and more destructive.
Then we have Hurricane Fiona, who, according to reports, made landfall in Puerto Rico and produced life-threatening situations there. In fact, according to the reports that came out of that region, it knocked the entire power grid out of commission there and left the entire location in the
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jessica Moore. We begin with Hurricane Fiona plunging Puerto Rico into darkness. The storm making landfall this afternoon, knocking out power to the entire island today. It comes 5 years after Hurricane Maria devastated the island's power grid. Already, President Biden has declared a state of emergency for the island, and Governor Hochul says the state will send any help that's needed. Tonight, the governor of Puerto Rico says there are reports of catastrophic damage and flooding in several areas. The governor also says there are multiple reports of downed trees, power lines, and mudslides. He also says a bridge collapsed about 60 miles west of San Juan. More than 720,000 people lost power, including the island's largest public hospital, which was running on generators. The governor says in some areas, crews are already working to restore the power.
And the southern part of the island is taking the biggest beating as driving wind takes down light poles and power lines. Right now, the entire island, more than 3 million people, are in the dark, and power companies are warning that it could take several days to restore the power there. And take a look at this video showing the real danger for millions of people, and that's flooding. Rising waters here sweep away a bridge in central Puerto Rico. This bridge was actually rebuilt after Hurricane Maria destroyed it 5 years ago this week.
Now, according to the Associated Press, this hurricane just roared over the Dominican Republic again today, a day after, or less than 24 hours after, knocking out power to all of Puerto Rico and causing damage. The governor described this as, quote, catastrophic, and many people are still left without water service. According to the Associated Press, the blow from Fiona was made more devastating because Puerto Rico has yet to recover from Hurricane Maria, which nearly killed 3,000 people and destroyed the power grid back in 2017. 5 years later, more than 3,000 homes on the island still have blue tarps for a roof. So this is just another blow to those poor people in that region. So we need to keep them in prayer and keep them in mind in your prayers as they are going through this catastrophic damage, and they're going to have to do everything they can to recover from this. So what are we talking about today? We are showing you again that these kind of disasters, these earthquakes, these storms, these super typhoons, these massive hurricanes, the flooding, and again, we're going to see volcanic eruptions. You go to Joel chapter 2, it talks about volcanic eruptions. It talks about this in the end times. We're going to see more and more of this. We're going to see more earthquakes. All this is going to intensify because it is, again, as the Lord says, they are like birth pangs that will increase in travail as we get closer and closer to the revealing of the Son of Man from heaven. We are seeing end time events intensifying in level and intensity as in birth pangs of the Messiah, leading us up to, again, what the Bible indicates as a tribulation period where we are going to see something that is so far greater than anything we've ever imagined that Jesus himself said, unless the days be shortened, no flesh would survive. So I want to leave you with some good news, because all the time we get hit with opinions and emails and commentary that you guys are promoting fear-mongering, and you guys are promoting hyperbole, and you're just scaring people. And that's not the case, my friend. What we are doing is showing you the signs and the times in which we are in. And listen, the blessed hope is this. In Luke 21:28, Jesus said, when you begin to see these things coming to pass, you look up and you lift up your heads because your redemption is drawing near. Again, endtimeheadlines.org, endtimeheadlines.com. That's where you can follow us. That's going to be our main website. Be sure to subscribe to our daily digest. Better yet, download our free app. It is available on Apple and on Android. and you can get that today. Push yes to push notifications. You'll be notified of every headline and every podcast as we get them to you. As we send them out, you'll be notified immediately so you can catch everything we're doing here at End Time Headlines. If you're listening by Apple or Spotify, again, go to your Apple store, your Android store, and you just type in End Time Headlines, and you'll find our app there in the Play Store, and download that for free today. Listen, if this ministry is a source of information, encouragement, equipping, and blessing to you and your family on a week-to-week basis, we want to encourage you to pray about becoming a monthly partner. You can do that two different ways. You can give electronically through the app, which is the easiest way, or you can give by check or money order, and you can make that out to End Time Headlines, P.O. Box 1391, and that's at Monroe, Georgia 30655. As always, we appreciate you guys coming on here today and being a part of the broadcast. Again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to subscribe to us on Rumble, on YouTube. If you're watching on whatever platform you're watching, again, you can find us on Facebook and follow us there. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're on every major social media location where you can find us and keep up with us. So until we see you guys tomorrow, may the Lord bless you, may he keep you, and may his countenance shine upon you. God bless you guys. We'll see you then.
Thank you for listening to the End Time Headlines podcast. We pray that you've been blessed and equipped by today's message. For more information about how you can help partner with our ministry, please visit endtimeheadlines.org.